Right. Here we go. Sitting in an English country garden, place I call home, presently drinking a cup of tea. Now, who would believe that? You see, my name is Edmund St. George Ellis. I was born in 1949, November 49, in Jamaica, Montego Bay. Worked my way through primary school, my way through what you call a grammar school here. I got to won a scholarship. And my parents decided they wanted a British education for my brother and myself. Yeah, he's now a professor of chemistry. I've got a degree in musical sociology. Studied all sorts. I was part of that generation who came here in 1964, 63, 64. My parents came in the 60s, early 60s, about 60. I stayed with my aunt because we were pretty well off. We just needed a British education. Stories came back from the war about how good the British education system was, and it was free. So my parents decided, my father was a builder, my mother, who was a costume designer, decided to educate us here. So they left with my little sister, who's also a sociologist. She did her master's somewhere in Shropshire now, obviously. And so we all came here. We all I was enrolled into the grammar school, Burton Grammar School. But this was a rural town, Burton-on-Trent. Why Burton-on-Trent? Very industrious part of the Midlands. My father moved into, he was in charge of the apprentices at the Midland Joinery Works. And my mother became a nurse. The Burton-on-Trent, there wasn't many black people here. So, and my brother and myself were the first two black kids to go to the grammar school here. So we stood out with a small black populace too. So my mother took care of a lot of the administrative business for the local black community, their passports, their whatever. I became a figure of curiosity. Not much racism, because I stood firm with my English counterpart. And I think it was through the bare respect for that I didn't experience a lot more, because I experienced a lot, but I handled it differently. I got a lot from the police, obviously. I don't know why, but, well, I do know why, because I'm black. That I've certainly felt from the police. The rest of the populace, okay, well accepted within the community. So most of my friends were white rather than black. And then when black people started coming in and moving into towns like Burton-on-Trent, some of them moved from Birmingham, some from Derby, some from all over the place. The black community started to grow in Burton. Obviously the kids, one or two made it to the grammar school. I think two made it to the grammar school. The rest were thrown into the local system. We used to have parties on a Saturday night down by Mosley Street, where all the black people would gather. By then, this would be the late 60s. And then the guys that I went to school with introduced me to people like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Pretty Things, or whatever. And they asked me what sort of music do we listen to as black people. So I brought them some blue beat, some ska, and then from then on, one or two started coming around to the Blue Beat club, the club in Mosley Street, well, the house in Mosley Street, where we raved on a Saturday night. And they would bring another friend, and before you know it, the more black kids, two or three, would venture into the center of town. And it was integrated quite well. There was a guy called Foxy who could dance very well. There was Julius, who was another good dancer. Likewise, myself, we danced in the local club, and the girls loved us. And it carried on from there, where I find myself married. And started having children. It was then that I realized that the 5-year plan was out the door, and I became part of the town. A man who participates in stuff like Black History, music workshops, courses for the local technical college based around music, and generally helping the black populace as best I could. The youth club that was integrated between black and white, because there was no such heavy racial confrontation in Burton-on-Trent. I think because the integration was early, it wasn't mass, and it filtered in. The rest of the black guys got accepted by the whole society, and we have a pretty good, well, we produce a lot of, you call it mixed race, I call it super race, because it's the best of both. Yeah, we produce a lot of super race. Here's a product of mine from part of that adventure mine through life, and he will tell you I'm a Jamaican. He is
most English Jamaican man.
English, he will tell you. What do you think of migration?
It's the evolution, isn't it, of basically humanity. If you think if you mixed all races together, then no one would really have a problem. It'd be the human race, which we all are. So I don't see why people have a problem with other races. It makes no sense.
Is that because you are a product of the same?
Possibly. In England, we're a lot more accepting. It's just the uneducated ones, the ones that don't read enough, perhaps, or don't educate themselves, basically. And yeah, they kind of get stuck in just seeing what's in front of them rather than what's ahead, I guess. Just ignorance.
But it's part of your reality. Your reality is that you're half Jamaican, half English, but half Scottish then. So you're half Scottish. Well, there you are part of what's half UK then. You're half Jamaican, half UK, and that's how complex this migration thing becomes. You know, people say I'm not English, I'm UK, or I'm not UK, I'm Scottish. You know, at the same time, we live together as one. Now, the mere fact that you were half Scottish, half Jamaican, born in England, so that makes you English by birth,
yeah,
Scottish and Jamaican by heritage. Okay, so you say, when they say if you do, well, like Bob Marley says, if you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where you're going.
Yeah. Well, when you're growing up, kids don't understand racism. It's what's then put into their head. As a kid, you don't notice it up until you start to realise when someone comes up and someone says to you, "Oh, you're not black eyed and you're not white." It was like, where do you fit? But you kind of get accepted on both sides, and you have the ability to drift within both cultures. So it puts you at an advantage.
So when you go to Jamaica, you feel like a Jamaican.
Yeah.
And when you're in England, you feel like an Englishman.
Yeah. Chameleon.
You're a chameleon, right?
I do have the best Sunday dinners.
That's rice and peas and chicken.
Don't forget the Yorkshire pudding.
And the Yorkshire, yes, the Yorkshire pudding goes, yes, very strange that, rice and peas and roast potatoes.
Some lovely gravy.
And some lovely gravy. And that's an English Jamaican dinner. That's bad. And your mother can cook some wicked Jamaican food, even though she's Scottish.
There's better rice and peas than you.
I know she does. But Migration is natural purely because we seek what we don't have or what we can't have. Or what. Migration can be in two ways. Migration can be from wars, which in itself is a product of this wanting more and more and more. It's a product of that. In terms of commodity, of course, I mean, we need more. We need more oil. We need more minerals. We need more. So we create a war somewhere, and you know, we have it all here, and people seek to possess what we have, only to find that it's the same wherever they are. Whenever two cultures clash, if it's not one that's of a polyglot, when I say polyglot, I mean polyglots like a Jamaican culture. That, you know, the music, you can take any kind of music and make it into a piece of reggae. You can take the English language and, you know, put a Jamaican slant. And in fact, half the kids in Britain now speaks half Jamaican, half English. So it's got to be something that came from a polyglottic angle. But at the same time, you can take a piece of reggae, put a reggae rhythm down, and a Polish guy can chat anything on it. A Dutch guy, a French guy, a whatever guy, English, Chinese, Japanese, you know, there's some wicked Japanese bands, man, reggae bands, bad. And finally, I have still got my Jamaican passport. Never did get a British passport. Married an English woman and a Scottish because I've been divorced once. Still ain't got a UK passport. Still having problems wherever I go. Stopped by immigration everywhere. Searched by every custom purely because I have a Jamaican passport. Brilliant. It's great to be a Jamaican. Living